Hey, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. Glad you could join us. Today is a great guitar intro, and we're featuring the intro to the song Blowin' Free by Wishbone Ash. If you've never heard Wishbone Ash, you need to check out their first 4 albums and their original live album, Live Double Dates, to hear the band in their early and probably considered to be their best period. All right, so you're going to learn both guitar parts because Wishbone Ash was a band of 2 guitars, and one of the features of this band is they wrote very specific parts for each guitar to play so that when they were blended together, it created a greater whole. This is no exception. The 2 guitar parts are different, although they do have very strict similarities in the first part. It's in the second part where they diverge, and it's really cool, and you'll learn some great stuff here, all right? So let's just get right to it. And be sure to like and subscribe to Outsmart Your Guitar along the way. Before we get into learning the actual intro, I want to cover the picking hand here because this matters. There are 3 approaches you can use to actually playing with the picking hand. The first approach is using a pick for everything. So the open D would be played with the pick, and then the high E and B strings would be played with the pick as an upstroke. So the open D is a downstroke. The B and high E string are an upstroke. Now, when you play these notes, you let them ring and then you mute them when you play the open D. So just relax your fretting hand. So it's not quite staccato, but there's a back and forth between the notes. All right? So the second approach is the hybrid approach. I use a pick on the open D string, and then my second and third fingers on the second and first strings respectively. Okay? Again, muting the notes when the open D plays. The third approach is all fingers. Thumb on the open D, first and second fingers on the second and first strings respectively. Now, if you use fingers, whether first and second or second and third, be careful about blistering. If you're not used to using them, finger picking or hybrid picking, then you have to be careful. When they start to ache a little bit, that means you're on the threshold of blistering, and you want to stop for a little while. Okay? So, practice that. Just using this 7th fret D shape up here and alternate between the first and second string and the open D, whether with fingers, hybrid, or all picking. Take your pick, play it for a couple of minutes, and just get comfortable with it before moving forward. The first part of the intro uses the D shape. We start with the D shape up at the 7th fret, and that's the first measure. The second measure, you move the D shape down to the 5th fret, and then the third measure, you're down at the open position. So I'm going to be using the hybrid approach here. So we start at the 7th fret with the first and second string, and again, notice the metronome mark is 136. We won't be playing it that fast here as you learn this, but below that is the metric modulation. This indicates that while it's written as 8th notes, we are actually playing with a shuffle feel. So the first note is 1 and The open D is the backside of the triplet, the backside of the shuffle. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, I say this up front just so you understand this is a shuffle feel. For learning it, you don't have to use the shuffle just to get the mechanics down, but then you can work into it as you go. So we're at the 7th fret with our D shape, and we start with just everything right there, playing the 1st and 2nd string on 1, open D on and. Add your 4th finger at the 10th fret of the 1st string and play the 1st and 2nd string, 2, and. Move your 4th finger to the 8th fret on the 1st string, 3, and. Then remove your 4th finger and play what you played on the 1st beat for the 4th beat, 4, and. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right? That's the first measure. The second measure, the mechanics are exactly the same. We're just at the 5th fret. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now we move down to the open position D, and the mechanics again are exactly the same. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Now, the and of 4 is the open G. So you have 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So you just lift your 1st finger off. All right? So here's what you're going for. I'll play it nice and easy. So what I want you to do is pause. If you need to rewind now or at any point in this lesson, go ahead and do so to review what you're working on, to listen to the description and the demonstration. So work through this. Take your time here, no hurry. All right? And when you're ready, you know what to do. The second half of the first part of the intro is pretty straightforward. It's strict triplets too. So you're going to hit a hammer-on the 1 and then hit the open D on the On the high E string, I'll remove all the other fingers. You're going to do the same thing. 2 and hitting the open D on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now on the previous measure, you had an open G on the and of 4, right? So it would go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and All right? So pause and practice this. If you want to put the and from the previous measure of beat 4 and 1 and you can do that, right? And help you kind of get a jump into this. Take your time here. No hurry. Just want to break in here for a moment and remind you down in the description is a link to patreon.com, Outsmart Your Guitar. Go on over there, join for free. You'll have access to a cross-section of material that you can watch and learn from, along with the written material, which will be included as well. Then you can join as a full-on patron at one of 3 levels to gain access to a whole lot of lessons that are not featured here, along with expanded versions of many lessons that are featured here. And you'll have access to all the written material for those lessons. All right? Check it out. Oh, now back to the lesson. Let me walk you through the first half of the intro. You'll notice you got the first three measures, and then the fourth measure has this little bracket above it with a 1, 2, and 3 on it. That's called an ending. And the 1, 2, and 3 are quite literally the first, second, and third ending, meaning the first time, second time, and third time you play, you go into this ending. And then each time you play into the ending, you'll notice there's a repeat symbol. You go back to the beginning and play the three measures, and then come in the second time, three measures, come in the third time, play the three measures. But the fourth time, you don't go into that one, you go into the one, the ending marked 4. That's how it works. And this is a shorthand to keep the chart small and simple. All right? So let me walk through this with you, and I'll show you exactly what you're supposed to do. So we start at the very beginning. First ending. Back to the top. Second ending. Back to the top. Third ending. Back to the top. Fourth ending. And that's how it's done. So that's what I want you to practice right there. Okay? Spend about 5 to 7 minutes walking through this, getting it nice and smooth. And to further challenge yourself, put it to a metronome at a nice, easy pace. Don't even try 136. That is just blindingly fast. Play it at a nice, easy tempo. You can actually play everything smooth and flowing. The second half of the intro for the first guitar is really very easy. It's just 2 measures long, but played twice, so a total of 4 measures. And what you're doing is playing a D, an A minor 7, a G5, what could be called an F2 or a suspended 2, and then back to the G5. And you do that twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Really straightforward stuff here, but a great lesson in partials, right? And you really want to get this down. And you want everything sounding even volume in all 3 notes. So take your time here, practice it, get it down, and then when you're ready to move forward, press play. All right, here is the whole first guitar's intro part. And I'm going to play it nice and easy. And if you're able to play at this tempo, play along. 2, 3, 4. So here's what you want to do after you play through this and get it down and put it to a metronome and get it flowing nice and smooth. Record it into your looper because this is the first guitar part. There's a second guitar part to learn, okay? So that will be coming up. I'm going to pause here and let you work on this part. While it's not really difficult, it will take some time to get it smoothed out and flowing really nice. And I really recommend you put it to a metronome to help get it paced properly. And remember, it's a shuffle feel as well, all right? So take your time here. The second part is coming up on the heels of this one. So get this down, and when you've got this down, the second part will be ready for you to tackle, all right? In the meantime, you take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.